Single dad denied a room in his own hotel, staff fired on the spot. The exhausted single father stood quietly at the front desk with his little daughter asleep on his shoulder, clutching a worn teddy bear while rainwater dripped from his jacket onto the polished marble floor. He asked for just one room to rest for the night, but the receptionist looked him up and down with cold eyes before refusing him in front of a crowded lobby. Guests watched in silence as security was called, unaware that the tired man they were humiliating was the true owner of the luxury hotel they proudly worked in. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, respect, and second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to Bright Kindness. Your support helps us bring more emotional stories that remind the world compassion still exists. Ethan Brooks had built the Mason Grand Hotel from nothing more than a dream, endless determination, and years of sacrifice. After losing his beloved wife Emily to a sudden illness, he became both father and mother to his 6-year-old daughter Lily. Every business meeting, every sleepless night, and every difficult decision was made with one goal in mind: to create a future where Lily would never have to wonder if tomorrow would be better than today. Although Ethan owned one of the most successful hotel chains in the country, almost no one recognized him because he avoided publicity. He believed leadership happened behind the scenes, not in front of cameras. That evening, Ethan had returned unexpectedly from visiting one of his remote hotel properties. A violent storm had forced him to cancel his private transportation, leaving him soaked, exhausted, and carrying his sleeping daughter through the heavy rain. His wallet and luggage had been misplaced during the confusion at the airport, leaving him with only his phone, which had completely died hours earlier. He smiled despite his circumstances, knowing the Mason Grand was only minutes away. Surely, spending one quiet night in his own hotel would be simple. Instead, he was greeted with suspicion. Jessica, the front desk supervisor, barely glanced at his tired face before deciding what kind of man stood before her. His worn jacket, muddy boots, and old travel bag convinced her he did not belong in a 5-star lobby. She interrupted him before he could explain, insisting that every room required immediate payment and valid identification. Ethan calmly tried to describe the situation, hoping compassion would replace policy, but every word only seemed to make her more impatient. Several guests whispered among themselves as Lily shifted slightly in her sleep. One elderly woman looked heartbroken watching the little girl rest against her father's shoulder, but nobody stepped forward. Jessica finally crossed her arms and ordered security to escort Ethan outside before he disturbed other guests. The security guard approached slowly, but unlike everyone else, he noticed something unusual. Ethan never argued. He never raised his voice. Instead, he gently adjusted Lily's blanket so she wouldn't wake up in the cold. There was quiet dignity in the way he accepted humiliation. Just as security reached for the door, the hotel's regional operations director walked through the entrance after returning from a late meeting. His eyes widened the instant he recognized Ethan. The entire lobby froze. The director rushed across the marble floor, apologized repeatedly, and addressed Ethan with unmistakable respect. Within seconds, every employee realized the impossible truth. The tired father standing before them wasn't an ordinary traveler. He owned the hotel. Jessica's face turned pale as the reality crashed over her. Her confident expression disappeared, replaced by disbelief and fear. The guests who had silently watched moments earlier now stared in complete shock. But Ethan didn't smile. He didn't seek revenge. He simply looked around the lobby, not as a wealthy businessman, but as a father wondering how many ordinary families had been treated exactly the same way. He quietly asked for the guest complaint records from the past year. What he discovered broke his heart. Dozens of complaints described families, elderly travelers, veterans, and exhausted parents being judged by their appearance before receiving service. Many had simply chosen never to return. His hotel had slowly forgotten the values upon which it had been built. The next morning, Ethan gathered every department in the grand ballroom. He spoke about the night before without mentioning his own embarrassment. Instead, he spoke about kindness. He reminded every employee that luxury was never measured by chandeliers, marble floors, or expensive furniture. True luxury was making every guest feel respected the moment they walked through the door. Policies could protect a business. Compassion protected its soul. Jessica and several supervisors responsible for encouraging disrespectful behavior were immediately dismissed. It wasn't because one mistake had been made. It was because months of complaints had shown a pattern of arrogance that no longer represented the company's values. At the same time, Ethan promoted the security guard who had remained respectful under pressure and rewarded several employees known for consistently treating every guest with kindness. Over the following months, the Mason Grand transformed completely. Every employee received empathy training alongside customer service instruction. Staff were taught to see people before appearances. Families struggling with emergencies received temporary accommodations. Elderly travelers were personally assisted to their rooms. Every child checking into the hotel received a small stuffed animal, inspired by Lily's beloved teddy bear. News of the transformation spread far beyond the city. Travelers didn't just praise the beautiful rooms anymore. They praised the people. Years later, guests rarely remembered the marble lobby or elegant suites. They remembered how the staff made them feel. Ethan often watched Lily, now growing into a compassionate young girl, walking through the lobby greeting employees by name. Every smile she shared reminded him that the greatest inheritance a parent could leave behind wasn't wealth. It was kindness lived every single day. Before we reach the end, I'd love to hear from you. Please comment below with one act of kindness that changed your life or restored your faith in people. Your story might inspire someone who needs hope today. As Ethan looked around the hotel one quiet evening, he realized that buildings could always be rebuilt, businesses could always recover, but a single moment of compassion could stay in someone's heart forever. The room he had been denied became the reason thousands of future guests would never again feel invisible. Sometimes the greatest leaders are not remembered for the companies they built, but for the humanity they protected. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a heartfelt comment, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to Bright Kindness. Together, we